All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, from AEW to WWE to TNA to Ring of Honor to New Japan Professional Wrestling, at times also the NWA, the MLW, Stardom. Whenever we can, obviously a lot of wrestling, a lot of professional wrestling to cover and stuff like that. But it's my 1010% pleasure to speak to you, lovely people, my family, professional wrestling fans, from here to from sea to shining sea. 1010%. All right, just gonna reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review, then we had our WWE NXT preview, and now we're gonna talk about WWE Bad Blood, but most importantly, the match, the signature match, the match that made the pay-per-view super exciting. Obviously, every main event on Bad Blood television, you had Hell in a Cell matches. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that. But before we move on, I want to remind you guys to hit up that tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Hit up that super chat, the super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. Remember, it really does help the show, guys. It's our show, 1010%. Without your guys' support, this show would be absolutely nothing. We need you guys, and if you have a burning question, make sure you send it in. Hit up the super chats to make sure your question gets read on air in front of millions of people. 1010%. Pretty awesome. So, we want to give you guys super thanks for being super awesome. So, just remember, give yourselves a pat on the back. We are wrestling fans. We are family. We are family, gosh darn it. So, yeah, let's shoot each other like family. All right, so WWE Bad Blood is going to be the next pay-per-view after Bash at Berlin. Kind of like something that I think I've talked about before on this podcast. How once when they kind of have international shows, it's not really any titles do change hands. Of course there was the Liv Morgan and the Becky Lynch match, but that was like nearing the end of Becky's contract and stuff like that, and they have not come to an agreement. Becky was like, you know what, I'm gonna kind of go into free agency and see kind of what's what. And they're like, all right, Becky, like we respect you 1010%. Hope you guys come back. Hope you come back. But now we have Bad Blood. I think it said October 3rd. I could be wrong. So the first ever WWF Bad Blood was on October 1997. Obviously, the Hell in a Cell is a signature, a main event for the pay-per-view. Like I mentioned before. But Hell in a Cell is definitely one of my favorite matches to watch. I got to be honest. Super excited to watch it. Can't wait to I like seeing blood. I got to be honest. I'm a old school attitude era like blood kind of guy. I like hearing them say swear words and stuff like that. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. It just adds to the drama. Like, you know what I mean? Like, essentially, it is sports entertainment, the WWE, the World Wrestling, entertainment. So, it's kind of like a show. It's kind of like a show. It's kind of like a beautiful movie. It's kind of like a beautiful, well choreographed. Just it's art. The WWE professional wrestling is art, ladies and gentlemen. I won't let you guys talk me out of it at all. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it's awesome. I love it 1010%. This Bad Blood, it's rumored to have Drew McIntyre and CM Punk being in the main event for that Hell in a Cell match. I buy it here and there. I gotta be honest, but I'm not the biggest. I like both of these wrestlers on their like single terms. But them coming together, I just think WWE's just forcing it way too much. I know they want to make this rivalry. A lot of people compared it to Bret Hart against Shawn Michaels, and I was like, dude, like, okay, let's not get too crazy. But these guys are they're amazing athletes, amazing individuals, amazing wrestlers in their own rights during their primes. Drew McIntyre is in his prime, I feel like. CM Punk, getting a little up there in age, but he's still, kind of kicking ass and taking names. It's going to be a good match. I think all in all, it's going to be a good match. Usually the Hell in the Cell matches in terms of professional wrestling is the match to be like, all right, this match, this is it. After this, we squash it. We're done. We're done. We go our separate ways. Could that be the case for Drew McIntyre and CM Punk after Bad Blood? It could be. It could be 1,010%. Maybe perhaps if Seth Rollins wants to, challenge CM Punk because he's like, all right, now it's my turn, Punk. We got Drew out of the way. But then with that promo with Bronson Reed, who like completely destroyed his ribs and left him bleeding internally, he's gonna come back. Seth's gonna come back for Retribution. I knew that WWE TV was going to run him off eventually because he just didn't look right inside the ring. He was cutting mostly promos. He was a special guest referee. He did have his match against Damian Priest, but still to that, it just kind of looked like it was, Damian Priest dictating inside the match what was going on, kind of leading Seth a little bit, kind of babying those, babying I think his knees, right knee. Don't quote me on that. But uh, hopefully it does eventually come to an end. But all in all, like if it does come to an end, it needs to end in blood, baby. If this is bad blood, it needs to end bloody. It needs to end with and like CM Punk is used to this. Obviously, he's used to reason why he left WWE was to go to AEW and try to flex on his creative capabilities 1,010%. But this is going to be big. I feel like, I was researching, it's, kind of crazy, but I've never really seen Drew McIntyre in a position where he was where he looked like not weak, but he just looked demolished and destroyed and stuff like. Obviously, he is the Scottish Warrior, and he's a big guy, so it's kind of hard to, make an example or make him look weak as hell or something like that. But I think this match, there's going to be a lot of blood. It's going to be a lot of blood. This is WWE's first step into introducing blood again. I feel like, introducing the PG-13 Monday Night Raw heading to Netflix. So this could definitely be a nice little stepping stone, a nice little foreshadowing of what to expect from professional wrestling moving forward when WWE makes the switch. 1,010%, pretty awesome. But I want to talk about my most memorable Hell in a Cell matches. Mick Foley's one of his best Hell in a Cell matches. Obviously, he's been in a couple of them. We had No Way Out, February of 2000, when Cactus Jack, his persona, essentially his last chance against Triple H for the WWE Championship. The rivalry between the two was immaculate. It was amazing. It was pretty great. They fought at WrestleMania. They fought at No Way Out. They fought at the Royal Rumble in a street fight. And these guys just loved going at it. They got to the point where I think Triple H made this promo where he said Mick Foley's like a floater inside the toilet where you even though when you try to flush him, but he never goes down. So I thought that definitely I'm distinguishing remembering that, and it was just funny as hell. So definitely one of the matches of the year. Mick Foley and Triple H put on a banger at No Way Out in 2000 to call their rivalry not quits, but just kind of end it for a little bit there. Next, we have The Undertaker takes on Triple H with the special guest referee, Shawn Michaels. This match was really awesome, and I'm going to tell you why. WrestleMania 28. It was an epic Raw. Gotta be honest. It was kind of an ending of an era. It was after the match where, I think I think Triple H was carried off, and then they all three look back, take the last look at the WWE universe, and kind of look at each other like, you know what? It's out of our hands now. It's up to these new guys. If that John Cena was ending, kind of at the end of his career. Batista was, ending toward his prime. Also, Randy Orton consistently injured. Edge, I believe Edge was retired at this time. Don't quote me on that. But it was just, I don't know, it was just so perfect. It was a great way to end an epic era. Three Attitude Era guys right there. The last Attitude Era Hell in a Cell happened at WrestleMania 28. The Phenom against the Cerebral Assassin with the special guest referee, Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. So one of my favorite Hell in a Cells. Another one was the very first Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood in October 1997. You had, Shawn Michaels taking on the Phenom, The Undertaker. The Undertaker's been in there. This is kind of like his home turf here. Kind of crazy. But you also saw the debut of Kane. I remember, Vince McMahon, they're like, everyone was like, who the hell is that? Paul Bearer comes out and he's like, oh, that's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane. And Kane comes out. The fans are shocked. The fans are in. It's chaos because they're fighting all over the cell. Shawn Michaels is a bloody mess. And then you had Kane come out and he rips off the door of the Hell in a Cell, coming after his brother, The Undertaker, who lit him on fire, and burnt him. And like, it was epic. It was epic. And then the way he stood, toe to toe with The Undertaker just made it so much cooler. Because at that time, The Undertaker was just like, he was kind of like this guy. He was kind of like the Bray Wyatt of the promos. Obviously back then, stuff was a little more scarier. But nowadays it was like, oh, really? You call that scary? But back in the day, The Undertaker, the Phenom, he was essentially like this horror movie, like this sporadic film, kind of, this character. And like he'd, come out from under the grave. He'd fight in buried alive matches, casket matches. I think he even fought in an Inferno match. And then like it was just I was just crazy. It was awesome to see Kane get his debut as well. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker absolutely tore the roof off that joint. It was, 1,000%. It was awesome as hell. One of my favorite matches. One of my favorite Hell in the Cells. Another one, I have the Triple H taking on Batista, the Animal, Batista Vengeance of 2005. This was a very, very good Hell in a Cell match. Bleacher Report calls it the best Hell in a Cell match because you saw the war between Batista and Triple H. Obviously they were old Evolution teammates. They screwed over Randy Orton, and then once when Triple H was starting to abuse the Nature Boy Ric Flair, then you saw Batista get angry. You saw Triple H, abuse his right hand man, his muscle, the animal Batista, and then essentially you saw him put Batista over, and this was huge. This started off. This was the reason why Batista was a really really big wrestler. He came out of Evolution. He came out when he came onto the scene. He was just like this big buff guy. I was like, oh, what the hell can this guy do? And then the fans warmed up to him, and then it was a possibility. WWE creative was like, all right, let's give it a shot. So then they had, this feud between Triple H and Dave Batista. And then, Batista rocked it. This match was amazing. Definitely one of the best Hell in a Cell matches I have ever seen. I like Triple H is obviously in my Mount Rushmore for kicking ass, but he's also on my Mount Rushmore for, putting over talent. And he put over Dave Batista in this match, 1,010%. So, definitely got to respect Triple H in that aspect. Of course, when you think about the Hell in the Cell, you don't think about the very first Hell in the Cell match between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. No, no, no. You think of this crazy son of a Mick Foley, Mankind, being hoisted, being thrown off the edge of the Hell in a Cell, falling through the announce table. Oh my God. I think Jim Ross was like, oh, he's dead. He's dead. He might be broken in half. And then, oh my God. And then they carry him off in a stretcher. The match is presumably over. They wheel Mick Foley up the ramp. The crazy SOB comes down. He just has, I think he knocked his tooth out. He's bleeding. He's coughing up blood. And he comes, and then no, it was epic. It was for something like no one's ever seen before. The Undertaker still standing tall, up on top of the Hell in the Cell, and and then and then he got thrown through the cell. Then he was thrown through the cell, and that was, I think it was on thumbtacks as well. It was definitely a prominent moment within the Hell in the Cell. Definitely love that 1,010%. Just my Mankind came out first, and then the Undertaker came out. I think it was, damn it, I think it was Michael Hayes. He was like, oh, he's daring the Undertaker to climb up. He's daring him to start the match. Like, I don't even think that match really happened inside the ring too much. I think they're mostly outside beating the holy hell out of each other. It was cool as hell, but you know, definitely love that match. And another match, it's not one of the best and definitely not one of the most favorites in terms of WWE Hell in a Cells, but The Fiend versus Seth Rollins. I gotta be honest, I thought that was a great Hell in a Cell. Thought that was the dawning of this new character that is The Fiend. and he fought against this was kind of like prime Seth Rollins when he was doing his thing as the WWE champion. So, I thought that was a pretty good Hell in a Cell. All right, guys, do not go anywhere. We're going to talk about Randy Orton signing a 5-year extension. We're going to talk about his contract. We're going to talk a little bit about where his career could possibly head, possibilities. So, hey, do not go anywhere.